What do you want to expand in your life? Well, we like that word expand, don't we? Kailani says, that's my word. So what is it that you want to expand? More love, more prosperity, more deeper understanding, more power, more presence, more strength. What is it? What is it? Real hugs. Okay. Woo-wee. What's something else somebody would like to expand in their life? Insight. Nice. Flexibility. What else? Healing, maybe. What else? Peace? Peace. Yeah. Wow. What else? What joy? Freedom. Yes. And are you willing to engage in activities that bring that to you? You know, we attract things to us based on the level of our consciousness. So are you willing to do what it takes to bring that to you? You know, some people think that all you got to do is pray, right? And stuff just magically shows up. That's a great idea. And stuff does manifest through praying, but I like the old adage that you tie your camel and move your feet, right? And we participate in attracting to us that which the presence of God desires in us, through us, and as us. So in this talk, we're going to discover ways that we can develop our attention muscles, our noticing muscles, our being present muscles, so that we can accept the present moment and be fully present in it and accept what comes to us, and to be alive and alert and enthusiastic as part of that journey. You know, it's a well-known fact, and it's scientifically proven that we can grow the neurons in our brains. It was thought for a long time that we could not increase brain cells, that we could not increase neurons, that the neurons that we were born with were the only neurons that we have. Now science is finding that we can indeed create more neurons in our brains and neural pathways that allow us to be clearer, to be more focused, and to be able to actually have power over what we think and how this thinking process works for us. You know, our brains are constantly changing. Our brains are, your brain, my brain is always changing. And we can, through our thinking and our actions, develop our brains in really powerful ways. And our brains are shaped by what we think and the activities in our lives. You know, they're finding that if we embrace new activities, we actually create new neurons and new neural pathways in our brains. Even people suggest taking a different route home. You know, do something different because it allows us to expand. Otherwise we can kind of get caught up in these ruts of doing the same thing all the time, and we get these deep grooves in our mind that don't lend to expansion. Is that the word we used earlier? I like that word. So our brains are constantly evolving, and our brains are shaped by the things that we affect it with consciously and unconsciously. And unfortunately, there's a lot of distraction in our world. Have you ever noticed? We are distracted by so much because there is so much to be distracted by. There's a study that came out recently that said that 47% of Americans are not paying attention to what they're doing. We're just on autopilot, just going from day to day, from moment to moment, and not really focused on what we're doing. And we're sitting around kind of wasting our brain space. And by not focusing on things that actually grow and develop our brains. And also people that get stuck in these ruts tend to be people who are less happy than people who are developing their brains. You know, there's nothing like singing or dancing or playing a musical instrument to pick us up. Ever noticed? Kurt's shaking his head, right? When you play your guitar, your brain like expands and explodes and gets vibrant, doesn't it? And it's the same for us. If we get stuck in the same ruts, doing the same things, we don't actually stimulate our brain to expand and to grow and, in essence, create more happiness and creativity and health. Robert Frost, the poet, said, "Life is an interminable chain of longing." Why is that? Because we're not fully present. So we go from one thing to another, from one addiction to another. And there is so much stimulation that oftentimes we are not, we're looking for something better than this moment. Always, aren't we? Especially, I think, with the short attention spans that we're developing because we spend so much time consuming little bits of information on the internet instead of paying attention and expanding our brain and looking to understand things on a deeper and more a deeper level. So, and the Buddha said, in a similar way, he said, "The one who is mindful or heedful is on the path." The one who is mindful or heedful is on the path to deathlessness, whereas the person who is mindless or heedless is as if dead already. Jon Kabat-Zinn wrote that mindfulness is, maybe I'm a slide behind here, mindfulness is the awareness that arises from paying attention, being on purpose in the present moment, and doing so without judgment. So mindfulness is a practice. And when we practice it, we actually can develop our minds. Mindfulness is a sort of a practice that I think is an antidote to modern life, a life that many of us live in where we go from one distraction to the next. And the distractions cause worry and anxiety and stress. So mindfulness trains us to keep our awareness and our attention in the present moment. It's almost like anybody lift weights at one time in their life? Anybody exercise at one time in your life? Anybody swim at one time in your life? Right? Those activities all require practice, don't they? And they require often starting slow and building up the skill. Mindfulness is the same way. If we want to build a mindfulness skill, we have to practice being mindful. Practice being here and now and really catching ourselves and saying, am I fully attention? Am I fully present? Am I fully paying attention? Might ask yourself that now as we look at cars passing through our parking lot. It's like, are we being totally present, or are we allowing ourselves to be distracted by something else? And rather than feeling shame or embarrassment, we can go, okay, this is an opportunity for me to focus my mind and decide what's really important for me, and can I be fully present in the moment, in the midst of all of the distractions that our life is offering us. There's something that's really interesting right now. And it's just a term that I heard not too often. Does anybody know what FOMO is? No, nobody? Somebody, you do, but we talked about it. Now, that's not fair. How about somebody else? FOMO, what does that mean?
Fear of missing out.
Oh, Kurt says fear of missing out. Oh, that is so prevalent in our society because we live in a time where there's so many activities that we can be a part of, and many of us, myself included, sometimes get stuck in the fear of missing out. You know, if it's kind of, we look around and go, oh, look at all the fun these people are having. Oh, look what this so-and-so is doing. There's somebody that comes to our Unity on Maui once in a while, and she often has 4 or 5 activities going on at the same time. And she'll tell me, oh yeah, well, I came by Unity for a while, and then I went to Temple of Peace, and then I went down and did beach dancing, and then I went up and did some other kind of dancing at Makawao someplace. And I'm just like doing all these things. I'm just like, oh my goodness. And she admits that she has fear of missing out, doesn't want to miss out on anything that's happening, want to be a part of it, want to absorb as much of life as we can. But if that's the case, are we really focused in the moment? Are we really able to enjoy this moment? Or are we thinking, boy, after church today, I'm going to go get some lunch, and then I'm going to meet with my friends, and then we might go down to the beach, and we have this rolling agenda happening all the time. And when we focus on that, when we let that happen, it doesn't allow us to be present right here and right now. And this whole practice that we're in of connecting with the presence of God within is really about, can I be present right now? Well, there is a solution to getting over FOMO, and I think that that's mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us break the fear of missing out cycle, or the cycle in our lives of not being able to be present. And what we can do, really, instead of focusing on what we are lacking or what we are not a part of, can we focus on what's happening right now? Can you focus on what's happening right now and be totally present to this? And just say, what, I'll think about that stuff later. Right now, I want to be present in this moment. This moment is a gift. And I accept it with my full presence and undivided attention. Let's say this, but let's massage every word. Right? And really feel it and communicate to ourselves, to our mind, to our body that this is important to be present right now. So let's say it together. This moment is a gift, and I accept it with my full presence and undivided attention. Rob Walker, in his book, The Art of Noticing, 131 Ways to Spark Creativity, Find Inspiration, and Discover Joy in the Everyday, is a collection of challenges, prompts, activities, exercises that can help us build our mindfulness muscle and become effective observers and participants in life, to fully be present in every moment And there are some really fun exercises in here. And Emily and I have done a couple, and we're going to do one in just a moment. But we decided one day to take a walk on the beach around sunset by the resorts. Have you ever done that? It's an amazing time to walk down there. It is so beautiful. And then we decided, we found a couple lounge chairs and in front of an amazing place overlooking the sky towards the west. And we sat in the lounge chairs and just kind of thought, let's just relax here. And then we had the idea, well, why don't we pick something and for 10 minutes concentrate on it? Just 10 minutes. So I set the timer on my phone and I picked a star in the western sky that I could see that's attracted me for some time. And it's a beautiful star. If you look really close, you'll notice that it changes color, that it blinks red, it blinks blue, and it blinks white. And it's just a really flickering of blinking. And so sat down and I'm watching this star, and there's people walking by, and there's a luau close by. And so I found my attention kind of going, oh, I want to look at this. I want to see what's happening over here. I want to go listen to the music at the luau. And then I had to bring myself back and say, okay, no, let's just focus on that star. And then I found myself looking at the moon or looking across the water, or looking at the rocks. And it's like, no, bring my attention back to this star. And that star, this is a picture of it. And so once I got past all of the resistance, I could just be totally present to the beauty of this star. And it was like, wow. All of a sudden, I am totally there. I am totally focused. I am totally enjoying this moment. I didn't have FOMO at that moment. I was totally happy right where I was. So when I got home, I had to figure out what this star was. And I discovered that it's called Antares, and it's the heart of the constellation Scorpius. And it's actually the scorpion's heart in the constellation. And Antares is huge. If we would have put our sun on a basketball court, and the basketball court it would be the size of Antares, you would see that our sun would just be the size of a nickel on a basketball court. In comparison to the size of Antares, because it's 680 times our sun. It's nearly 550 light years away, which means if we could travel at the speed of light, it would take us 550 years to get there. It would be quite a journey. And it's interesting, too, that to look at the star and realize the light coming from this star happened 550 years ago. Wow. And it's the 16th brightest star in the sky. It's 10,000 times more luminous than our sun. And it's a red supergiant in the final stages of its life. Which means it's, all suns have their prime, and our sun's kind of in its prime. We got a couple billion years, I think, until it dies. So I think we're going to be okay. So now I thought it'd be fun for us to actually practice a mindfulness exercise. And so we've got some croton leaves. And Emily's going to pass them out. Or can you do that? Okay. We got this out of our yard, and so I'm going to invite everybody to take one leaf. Thank you. So as you get your leaf, you can just start looking at it on both sides. I like to smell mine as well. These are amazingly beautiful leaves, and so many different looks they have, even from the same plant. So as you look at this leaf, just be aware of what you notice. What is it similar to that you are familiar with? And how is it unfamiliar? What do you find interesting about it? Imagine looking at it as if you were a scientist. What would you see? Colors, shapes, or maybe as a child, how would a child see your leaf? And for those of you at home, I invite you to pick something in your environment that's close to you. Maybe it doesn't have to be a leaf because you're probably inside. It could be a leaf of a table. And just find something that you really haven't looked closely at before. And just pick it up and look at it. Almost like you could look at it with a microscope. So now we're going to take 2 minutes, and Kurt will play a little bit of background music for us, and we'll take 2 minutes and to look at our leaves, and then I invite you, or just to notice what you notice. Did anyone see anything interesting? Would someone like to come up and just share a couple sentences of what you saw? You can bring your leaf up with you. And would you like to share with us what you noticed? Maybe even what you noticed about the journey of focusing your attention on the leaf. Anyone? I think Patricia's headed this way. Patricia, yes? Okay.
Can you guys hear me okay? I really don't want to take it off unless I have to. Can you hear me or not?
Yes.
Okay, Joy, can you hear me? Yes, no?
How could she say no?
So, these are beautiful. And before you invited us to take 2 minutes to look at it, since I'm a multisensory being, I see with my hands. I also feel with my hands. So I did take a moment, probably a minute, to really scrutinize what Mother Nature has created for us. And I saw at the end of the veins, there's splits, and then there's further splits. And I thought, wow, who knew? And then the various colors and the many different colors of the reds and the greens and so on. And then the leaf said, hold me. So I put it between my hands, closed my eyes, held my hands near my heart, and felt the aliveness and the life that the leaf and I shared and exchanged. Because this is as alive as I am, even though it's still not on the mother plant. And I do much better when I can feel life. Seeing is wonderful. It's beautiful. It fulfills that visionary side of me. But to be able to feel what is here brought tears to my eyes. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Someone else? Maybe one more person like to share? Emily.
I didn't expect to be so touched by this. But looking at this beautiful, beautiful leaf, I just felt such overwhelming love for Maui, that we get to live in a place that produces something this amazing and beautiful. And just looking at it brings tears to my eyes. And what an incredible thing to see something this beautiful and this intricate. So I'm in awe. I'm just in awe of the beauty.
Thank you. So as I was preparing this talk today on mindfulness, I always like to bring up something kind of humorous, and I came across these cartoons. Some of them you may have seen before. So here's a couple of dogs sitting on meditation mats, and one says to the other one, "The key to meditation is learning to stay." And this other one, it's two monks, and one of them, and they're like sitting on their mats meditating, and one of them says to the other, "Are you not thinking what I'm not thinking?" And this one's fun too. It's a Zen crossword puzzle. Across, nothing. Down, nothing. And then lastly, I think someone gave me this birthday card once before. It says, "Not thinking of you." So practicing mindfulness will help us build new neural pathways in our brains as we learn to be fully present to this moment and relish the experience right now. And not just watching what's happening, not being curious about what somebody else is experiencing, but being able to be present right here in the right now. The benefits of thoughtful and intentional mindfulness will translate to us as a happy and fruitful and flourishing life. This moment is a gift, and I accept it with my full presence and undivided attention. And I invite you to close your eyes. And let's take this moment to turn within. And just be present to this moment. To be aware of what you're feeling. And then to let the feelings pass. To be aware of thoughts. And then let them go. To be aware of noises in our environment. To bless them and let them go. Breathing in and breathing out. Being right here and right now. Without judgment, just to be. And let's take a moment and join together in the silence. Once again, returning to the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. slowly allowing your awareness to return to this moment. Well, at this time, I invite you to prepare your love offerings and to consider the idea that you can expand your consciousness and have your needs and desires met by becoming a giver. This is how we prime our spiritual pump and practice the law of circulation. When we give, we are enforcing our own consciousness by affirming that we have something to give. When we give, we are part of the flow of giving and receiving. We are saying to the universe, I have something to give, and I open myself to be able to receive. And we know that as we know and believe that we have something to give, the universe responds and says, and here's something for you to receive. So we give thanks today for all the gifts that are coming into unity on Maui. Right now, we know that these gifts are moving through us, as us, through our staff, through our equipment, through all manners of ways that Spirit is supporting this ministry, expressing through this ministry. And we behold that we are making a difference in the world. That the truth that unity teaches is having a positive effect on humanity. And we catch that feeling of prosperity and what it feels like to be enfolded in that, in the love of giving. And we know that is so. So as you hold your gifts this morning, I invite you to say with me our prayer and affirmation for prosperity, which begins, through a grateful giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Namaste. So thank you for these gifts, loving Spirit, that have come to us in love. We hold them, we bless them, we give thanks for them, knowing that they are moving in and through this ministry. And we behold a world that is filled with light, with love, and with peace. And so it is. Thank you. All right, then, let's see. A couple announcements today. Today's flowers are offered by Joy Meyer, celebrating Kelly Stanley's birthday. Woo! You know what? It's also Joanne's birthday sometime kind of soon, isn't it? Let's see if we can get her back out here. We'll sing happy birthday to both of them. And anybody else? Anybody else have a birthday relatively soon? We'll see if we can get her out. Kailani's gotten a lot of influence. So let's get ready for a rousing version of Happy Birthday. Here we go. To Kelly and Joanne. Let's do it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And that ain't all.
All right, thank you. Let's see. Well, what else do I? Oh, if you'd like to give flowers on a Sunday morning, you can do so. There's a sign-up sheet in the back by the door there where you can put your commitment to bringing flowers and the desire that you might have, the dedication for those flowers. And next week, my talk is titled, I Know You, You're Just Like Me. You know, we tend to take our identities quite seriously. Have you noticed? You know, our identities, after all, identify who we are, what we like, our social connections, and the groups to which we belong. In addition to reflecting who we are and how we plug into the world, our identities influence our behaviors and our reactions to events. We filter what happens to us through the lens of our identities. So our identities determine what's important for us to pay attention to and what we pay attention to. Also, they guide our emotions and our behaviors. Although our identities serve important functions, they also create a slew of problems. One problem is that our identities usually reflect ways that we are different from people. So next Sunday, November 14th, in my talk titled, I Know You, You Are Just Like Me, we're going to look at a few ways that we can begin to look at ourselves and others from a more positive and equal and pro-social perspective so that we can help others and support ourselves in positively influencing our lives and the world. And if you didn't notice, that my talk today was titled The Art of Noticing from this book by Rob Walker. This is a really phenomenal book, and I'm going to leave it sitting here if you want to look at it, if you're still trying to decide whether or not you want to be part of our Aloha group, which happens this coming Thursday. And more information will be in the newsletter. It starts the 18th, Thursday the 18th, isn't that right? Yeah, that's right. It's a week from Thursday. Thanks. So anyway, yeah, it's a week from Thursday, so you got a little bit of time to think about it. I ordered this book through Amazon and got it in 2 days. So, and it's also available in Kindle and other way. On a little slightly different note, yeah, why don't you come up, Joy, and tell us about our movie night.
Is this on? Speaking of confusion on dates, movie night is next Friday night, the 12th, not the 15th, as the flyer says, but the opening paragraph in the e-blast says it's the 12th. We are showing Oh God, which is a classic movie. It was made in 1977, would you believe, before some of you were born. And a lot of you were born, I think. And it's a fabulous movie where George Burns plays God and just has the most incredible wisdom and sense of humor. And he comes and visits one man on the earth in this way, and it's John Denver. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful movie. I hope you will come and enjoy it with us. Doors open at 4:45. The movie will start at 5. And yeah, you have to do it by reservation. So let me know if you want to come. And my phone number is in the e-blast. And there will be a special e-blast going out this week, too, to remind you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joy. That'll be a lot of fun. That's a really fun movie. And George Burns has some really great ideas about God and their relationship to God. So come and join us. That'll be a lot of fun. And also, every Sunday I put together a Walk Your Talk. It's kind of a summary of what we talked about. And the Walk Your Talk is on the table in the back. And I'd love for you to take a copy home with you. So tomorrow morning, if you're wondering, what did we talk about? There's more information back there, and it's also available in our newsletter, e-blast, on Thursday. All right then. Well, I think that about wraps up what we're doing today. Why don't we stand, take a deep breath, give thanks for this moment, and be in the moment as we affirm and pray together the prayer of protection, which begins, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us wherever we are. God is. God bless you, friends. Thank you for being here today. Much love, aloha, and mahalo.
Where I live, there are rain.